Welcome back to Last of Us Part 2. So, yeah, let's continue to not row your boat because there's no paddles. But
What? I can't hear you over the waterfall.
alright. Let's continue. Yay. Oh, look, guys, it's the ice cream truck from the first game. Maybe. Not really.
Nah, there's plenty of ice cream trucks that have fallen to the apocalypse.
Knowing them, it is probably that specific one.
Ow.
That's not even a bad thing, it's just a quirk.
It's
Come
a
to think
thing.
of it, did we go through Seattle at any point in the original game?
No, I don't think so, at least.
I'm trying to remember if
We went across the country, but I don't think they've ever specifically told us each specific city that we went through. Well, it's not like it was important anyway.
Depends.
I mean, we know that the prologue takes place in Boston. We know that. And St. Mary's Hospital is in Seattle, or is it not? No, not Seattle. Whatever, I don't know. Insert American city here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, basically...
Press triangle to stop driving the boats, even though we've already done that.
Yes, that's very good.
Yeah, apparently we did not go to Seattle in Last of Us 1. Alright then.
I don't even remember. Anyway, cephalopad?
Bad,
100 brains and 100 brawn. Holy shit, is this trading card broken?
That sounds OP.
Long thought to be a myth passed down for superstitious sailors, this extra-dimensional entity has taken on the form of a gargantuan bioluminescent squid. Hiding from others of its kind, this hyper-intelligent being has taken a liking to our seas and the diverse life forms living within them. Unfortunately, cephalopad has a temper to match its smarts, conducting acts of tentacle-based terrorism against fishing vessels, oil tankers, and other sea craft, which it believes are part of the cycle of harm against the world's oceans. Our only hope might be Big Blue, which is another trading card that we can get. So basically,
So it's essentially Squid Girl if she was actually serious.
it's an evil squid.
Like I said, Squid Girl if she was actually serious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess you haven't seen that anime.
Well, there's plenty of anime I haven't seen.
Same.
I was talking to Pedro on that one, but yeah.
Well, same
Well, I mean,
applies.
it applies to me too. I mean-
Same applies though. Yeah.
I mean, the most recent anime I got. I mean, it was a few days ago. Granted, it was the 2019 version of Fruits Basket, but I haven't started watching it yet.
Squid Girl is essentially an anime that actually got some cross promotion with Splatoon, of course. Basically, It's about this half squid, half girl who tries to take over the world because supposedly the Earth has been, well, the people on the surface have been messing with the sea for so much, but obviously no one really takes her seriously. Well, it kind of has to do with her attitude, as you would expect of an anime of that caliber.
I guess.
Alright, let's see. Beth, if you're reading this, then I'm toast. I hope it wasn't those scar fuckers, but some blaze of glory. Bigger hope is you remember where we hit the stash. Code is 701264. It's not much, but it's all I have. I want you to take it. Be well.
You know what's
Randall.
sad? That could literally be the letter of a Naughty Dog employee. Just tweak the meaning a bit, and the same grim reality is there.
Yeah, basically.
This game is not necessarily a big blaze of glory.
You know what's the interesting thing? Ghost of Tsushima does the whole fighting, killing people takes its toll on your mental health thing a lot better than this game does.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not entirely the focus, as it is in this game. There we go. Alright, here's the save. So, let's see what's else in here. Nothing. Okay. Nothing that I can use at least. Alright, it's 70... 12... And the last one I think was 64, right? Yeah. There we go. Ooh, bullets.
Nice.
Alright, that should be it. Let's reload. There we go. This should be useful. Since we're about to actually have to go through a group of scars in a few moments. Alright, Bo. Let's go.
Oh, some more mooks.
Well, that's right. Maybe I should actually open the gate. Yeah, that probably would be useful.
Yeah, you won't be getting much for your vengeance if you can't even open the gate, girlie.
Huh.
No,
It's, huh. It's,
enthusiastic, Ellie, but take your time.
huh. It's a good thing though that chain keeps the gate open. Like, how does that work? I mean, usually those kinds of mechanisms always, as the moment you let go, the gate will just lower again. Because
Maybe she tied it somehow? Oh boy, thunder and lightning for added effect.
well, to be fair, we're reaching upon the climax of Ellie's campaign. We're literally, it's this part plus 2 parts after this, and then we'll finish Ellie's campaign.
I know, it's just that I love how the thunder and lightning there is so obviously there just for dramatic
Well, it
effect.
really is like half of the game you play as the other person.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember, Shiroi, this game takes place over the course of at least before pre-epilogue stuff, but that's a topic for a future part. The entire game takes place over the course of 3 days, and Abby's half is the same 3 days, but lived through her perspective. The problem is that, like Never Knows Best, who made a critique of this game, said in his critique, because I've seen a lot of critiques of this game on YouTube, said Abby's campaign doesn't recontextualize Ellie's story in any way, shape, or form. They're two completely separate stories, really. So
like I said, Abby's campaign is literally just there as a cheap ploy to try and get players to like her. Nothing more, nothing less.
Basically, yeah. It's one of those cases where, okay, you might want to make an argument. Oh, but don't you see? The idea is that no one is the true hero. Everybody's a hero in their own story. Yeah, I get that. The problem is when you actually get around to it, and trust me, when we get to Abby's campaign, I'll be able to put out specific examples. It's abundantly clear that Neil himself didn't decide to be ambiguous when it comes to that. He clearly has a preference for Abby, as we're gonna see in Abby's campaign.
And yet, despite his obvious poise to make Ellie seem worse than Abby, a lot of people still cite Abby as being way more psychotic than Ellie.
Yeah.
And trust me, you will see why. So, congrats,
But
Neil,
don't you
in trying to get us to...
But don't you see, Jova? She let them live. She let her live, and she wasted it.
God. I hate that. You know, Neil literally pulled a Marvel Comics. Like the same thing Marvel Comics ended up doing with Carol Danvers. In trying to get us to like Abby, we just hated her more. Congrats.
Basically, Shira, the whole Mary Sue Captain Marvel thing from the movie is not actually entirely a new thing. It's actually comes from a history of source material, sadly. So
Let me put it like this. Long story short, Marvel noticed, oh crap, we don't really have as many female characters in the MCU as much as DC has apparently cited, because DC on the whole still owns a lot more of their female characters that they can still actually use, whereas Marvel, not so much. So in a cheap way to try and make the female superheroes that they did have relevant more so, basically they made Carol Danvers the de facto female superhero of the comics. This was at the expense of already more popular superheroes like, Storm, Rogue. Yes, a lot of female superheroes at the time were X-Men, but I digress still. It was a cheap way to try and get us to like Carol Danvers.
Bagel Bros? Hold on, Jova. Bagel Bros. Interesting name for
Maybe they bake bread.
Well, obviously that
Well,
goes.
they make bagels. It's
Bagel Bros. Interesting name.
Interesting. God forbid that's a vague Mario reference.
I seriously doubt that. I'm pretty sure it's just meant to be cheeky.
Well, I mean, it can be cheeky and a reference, but it would be a silly one still. Okay, so time to make our way for another set of mooks.
So what you're telling me, Jove, is that Ellie's Mario and Joel is Princess Peach. So.
Well, in that case, doesn't that mean she failed since Joel's dead?
Basically, Shiro,
He's in another settlement, I guess.
Basically, Shiro, in Death Stranding, when Sam finally saves his sister, and the sister reveals a hidden truth about how he was supposed. It was all. This entire thing was part of a larger plan. Sam literally says in true Kojima joke fashion, so I'm Mario and you're Princess Peach, right? So
I thought you would have considered that spoiler territory, but yeah, that happens.
Not really. I mean,
great. The core whistle of death.
Well, not really, Joe, but mentioning this joke out of context, as I just did in a vague way, it doesn't really spoil anything, to be honest.
But yeah, it's nice and cheeky. Again, for as many problems as Death Stranding has, and trust me, there are quite a few, Death Stranding still manages to be fun for the people who actually do enjoy that type of gameplay style. And all the same, it has a more uplifting message than this game does, and I get it. A game like this isn't supposed to be all uplifting and everything, but there always does come a point where you get too dark for a certain subject material, and you get darkness-induced audience apathy. Arguably one of the worst things to possibly happen. It's not even a case that, things end on a downer note. It's like the game tries actively to go out of its way to make the character suffer, to the point where it gets more humorous than actually tragic because of how unrealistic it is.
Death Stranding actually has Death Stranding actually has intentional humor. Just saying. Go ahead, Shiro.
You're saying, Joy?
Yeah, also any care I had for the characters from the first game is pretty much gone, honestly, just because there's so little good happening here that whenever something bad happens, it's just
more bad.
You can't really raise the stakes if everything's running on a straight line, and this line is terrible.
And now you see the main reason why they try to make us care about Abby, because clearly the people in charge don't really care about the original characters as much. Like, I mean, okay, you could say maybe we're supposed to care about Ellie going down this deep and dark path, but
I don't.
Like I've mentioned before, the game doesn't actually commit to that.
Not only that, but okay, let's assume that the game did have a message that it was actually committing to. At the length of this stuff, it's not like where Ellie's really been in danger of dying, per se, because, okay, story-wise, Ellie has been shown to be practically an unstoppable killing machine, apparently, at this stage of the game. And, okay, maybe we could argue, maybe we're supposed to care about the people around her who may die. Well, here's the thing. Dina's a dumbass who brought her dumbass into the middle of battle, her pregnant dumbass in the middle of battle, mind you. What? She had no business bringing herself into the line of fire when she had a good idea that she was pregnant. Didn't even maybe raise the idea. But no, now that they're in the thick of things, it's absolutely terrible. Sure,
I'm still not over Joel giving out his full name.
That too, yeah.
Like that,
technically, idiots. Well, sure. Technically, he wasn't the one that gave the.
No. To be fair, he confirmed it though.
True, he confirmed.
Yeah, I should have said confirmed instead, because yes, they were the ones who said the name, not Joel.
Yeah, Abby shot him in the kneecaps, then told him Joel Miller, and instead of feigning ignorance, he basically said, "Why don't you say whatever speech you got prepared and end this?"
Like I said back then, Joel is a very common name. It's, jeez.
Not just that, even Joel Miller. There can be multiple Joel Millers. They're not even going to try to make doubly sure
Yeah, I mean, what if you end up killing the wrong one? That could end up biting you in the arse in the future.
I've heard
Or
someone.
hell,
Go ahead.
hell, for all you know,
Just like Joel, just apparently what Joel did is going to end up biting him in the arse.
pretty much it's like the writers first thought, okay, how do we get what we want to happen without thinking of literally any other factor outside of, okay, we want this to happen, and pretty much brute forced it so that no matter what character arcs we destroy, no matter how stupid we make characters who are not supposed to be the stupid, we will have a story we want no matter the cost.
Basically.
You know, I would say that you know this because sometimes games with writers we thought were great, but then they end up making a bad product, and then people and then people start making something like, oh, that writer wasn't great, he just had other people helping him. Well, it's not so this time, because Neil had some people help him write this game, just like the other ones. So I still don't know what happened.
Except for the first game, because the first Last of Us, it was just him writing, nobody else.
Well, me and Pedro have discussed this before, and I'm pretty sure we've mentioned this like in one of the parts already. But Neil is one of those people that is probably better on a leash, it seems, because he's the one greenlighting all the decisions. He's the project lead. At this point. So he's probably better off working under someone else.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Technically, he is working under somebody. It's just that person is Evan Wells, and from what I understand, he hasn't done anything.
No.
Not helped by Neil, from what I've heard, being kind of a bully. Well, actually, not kind of, but an outright monster to a lot of people who work underneath him as well.
Like staff members not being able to talk back about story decisions and things that they don't like, and
so that's the thing, though.
Well, but sure, why would I want all these bigots in my development team?
You see, that's the thing as well. I should be. That's the thing, though, as well. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna throw some of the blame at Evan Wells as well. He's Neil's boss. He should be stepping in. In case. Because shit like that could end up destroying company morale, and all that's going to fall back on. All that stuff's going to fall back on him, and Evan Wells, from what we can tell, has done nothing.
Evan Wells is like that kind of boss,
which in some cases is worse than, which in some circles you could apply as even worse than all the stuff that Neil's alleged to have done, because you're the boss, you should be doing something, and yet you're not doing anything.
Oh yeah, enabling is just as bad. That's it, though. Evan seems to be that kind of guy.
I just realized it's something then.
What?
Maybe Ellie in this campaign, Ellie is Neil Druckmann and Dina is Evan Wells. There you go. See?
Considering how ineffective Dina is, yeah.
Yeah, Dina is Evan Wells. She's just as much of an enabler and just allows Ellie to do whatever the heck and doesn't actually, call her out on the clear wrong path that she's taking.
Oh my god, I get it. And Ellie is Neil, who accomplishes such great atrocities along the way, but in the end fails at getting his proper... Wait. Suddenly Sunshine? What? Okay.
What do you know, Joba? Amateur under suspension of disbelief.
Well, to be fair, at least here in Britain, sometimes I look out the window and it's 1 minute it's cloudy, and then the next minute I look out and all of a sudden most of the clouds have just vanished.
But
also, you can have times where it's sunny and then there's just one humongous rain cloud off in the distance.
So what you guys are saying is, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone.
Believe it or not, the people behind the weather are actually onto something.
Yeah, this does happen.
I think what I just found weird was how it's literally sunny on one side of the bridge and dark and gray on the other side, and yet seems to change rather sporadically. That said, it's far from the worst.
To be fair, no, I agree. No. In Beyond Two Souls, it's way worse. Because in Beyond Two Souls, we literally go from Night Shot and then we change angle. We don't change to a different scene. We just change angles, and then from one angle change to another. Suddenly, it's now morning. It's now dawn. Like it's literally Ed Wood-esque in the way it's done. Whereas in here, the transition is more, while sudden is more done in the background, so it's much less jarring.
Kind of seems like a missed opportunity that we can't play billiards or one of those potential mini games over there, but alas.
Speaking of
Fright Night,
W&B Arcade and Anja?
Arcade's annual.
Oh, annual. That's it. Like that fucking font. Anyone in costume gets 100 tickets free. Special rewards on Halloween night. Oh, so it's kind of like Twinkle Park. Cute couples get in free.
Nice.
Seriously, what kind of policy is that for a park? Like cute couples get in free. Okay, so let me get this straight. Whoever gets free tickets is entirely dependent on the owner of this park's subjective take on cute couples.
On cuteness, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that.
This can't go horribly wrong.
It reminds me of that Sonic short where Amy tied Sonic up, but so Amy was denied access, and yet Big and I think it was a robot got in.
E102 Gamma.
Yeah, Big got in with Gamma.
Yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting about Gamma.
And then Amy starts strangling Sonic out of frustration.
What are you talking about? What about? Well, that's the thing, Missy. By cute couple, we mean whatever our manager deems as cute. So.
And apparently, the manager deems cats and robots dating as cute.
Okay,
fair enough.
Okay. Now, to their credit, unlike Sonic, Gamma was coming with Big willingly. Like,
Sonic was tied up.
Something tells me that
he was being dragged.
Remember, Shiro, in Ni no Kuni 2, there was an NPC cat that was married to a male mouse. So I guess he also likes cats and mice.
Interspecies, yes.
Well. There's supposed to be it's supposed to be a metaphor for the fact that it doesn't matter where you're from, what race you are, and all that stuff. Like love transcends that kind of shit. Kind of like how in Zootopia, that you also used animal species as a metaphor for human minorities and stuff like that.
I do wonder.
I mean, it's actually kind of a common trope in old animated films, and it seems like with Ni no Kuni 2 and Zootopia, it seems to be like kind of back in the fray. It seems now. Go ahead, Jova.
I do wonder if they were planning to at some point make Nick and Judy a couple in Zootopia.
Jova, that's literally every fan-made Zootopia sequel.
Oh, hello there, Mr. Bloater. Fancy meeting you here.
For a second there, I thought he was biting off Ellie's neck. Like we
I already ship it. I don't need the movie to confirm anything.
Okay, all things considered, considering all the water around, shouldn't this guy have become a shambler instead?
Maybe it only started raining now. Maybe it's not been raining. Well, actually, never mind. You know what? I don't know.
No. I'm talking about the fact that we literally arrived in this place by boat. Anyway, it's time for
the game directors really wanted a bloater boss battle here. So
maybe if this bloater's been here for a lot longer than we realize.
That also is a possibility because bloaters are supposed to be long time infected. So it is possible that because mutations aren't an exact science, let's face it. They can vary immensely. They're not an exact science. Even if you do fulfill what are supposedly the primary requirements, things can still go not like what it's expected. So to be fair.
Okay, Ellie. For the first time, I can say you probably did something that would have made Joel proud, taking out a bloater by yourself.
Indeed. Well, she's 19 by this point, so.
I love how she pretty much goes, well, that happened. Back to the actual plot now.
Well, Jova, to be fair, Jova, at this point, fighting infected is kind of, Tuesday for her. So
Yeah, it has been 5 years.
This again goes to one of the problems people have with the plot, that the infected are pretty much at best a detour from the main plot. Which, yeah, maybe you could argue has to do with a natural evolution of the plot, but at the same, this is supposed to be an apocalyptic shooter here and there. Like, that the focus isn't as much on the infection is... I've already talked about how it's weird.
But
Let's
no,
just go on to the next part.
But no, Jova, no. What you just said, Jova, that's literally every fan fiction taking place after the movie. Literally everyone. There's literally a bajillion. Hell, even Brown Table made his own fan-made Zootopia 2. You can watch it on YouTube. That's entirely about them wanting to start a relationship, but everybody around them telling them that that's just, not done because, a rabbit and a fox. What is this madness? So again, so trust me, Joe, but that's like every Zootopia fan fiction ever. So,
all right, folks, we'll see you for the next part.
See ya.
So yeah.